Alright. I think I'm back. Alright, yeah. It's apparently it's restricted in trade. It doesn't want to, OBS doesn't want to do it. But the idea with the evil that Jason talks about, you got lawful evil, chaotic evil, and the neutral evil is the real evil, because just in a way, they're not governed by any laws, they're not governed by chaos. Evil is actually the driving focus behind it. So I love that concept. It's very, very cool. But none of it plays, those are monsters. Those should be the ones that we're all killing, as we wander through whatever crazy adventure. I'm still under a whole person. Apparently this topic is just it's not for Twitch. All right, so let's dive into number 2. So the second, here we go. And the second thing, and I like to do this a lot. Now, I did this so much that Zane and Neil and some of the other guys created backpacks to counteract this. If you look in the Adventurer's backpack, your backpacks have quick release straps. You pay like an extra, I don't know, 10 silver pieces or something for it, so that you can pop it, you can click it, and it opens and your backpack falls off. Because if you go into combat with a backpack on, I will cut straps and belts and whatnot so that you'll end up, you've got a 60-pound rug on that cuts this strap on your left shoulder, and now you've got this big-ass bag that's just kind of flopping around on your back and to your side, hitting your leg, getting in the way. And you know what it's like when you've got your school bag or your D&D bag over your shoulder and you bend over to pick something up, the damn thing slides off your arm and hits the floor and stuff falls out and it's just chaos. So I bring that same real-world concept right to the table with the backpack. If you go into combat backpack on, you can almost guarantee it's going to get cut off of your shoulder in some capacity and end up causing minuses on your dexterity, your initiative, your to hit, maybe even damage depending on what mood I'm in. So I do that. I do that an awful lot. Like I said, Mac only carries a satchel anymore, so he can drop it off his shoulder, and so I haven't been able to do that to him for years. And the quick release stuff in the Adventurer's backpack gives the character a little bit of an angle against that. But it's a really fun kind of real world thing to do that we all can kind of associate with, because we've all carried backpacks that we've had to turn or twist and it's only on our one shoulder and there it falls. Actually, I flipped those. That was GM's Trick or Trade 3. Trick or Trade 2 is the shield strap. So this is the exact same principle as the backpack. I will have the blade, the mace, or whatever it is, the weapon strike the shield and drive it down, and it will pop the strap. Frequently there's a hand grip here. Sometimes it's strap, sometimes it's wooden. But then you've got the strap here. So I'll have this strap break, pop out. And the reason the old school AD&D had German ranks unite. Yeah, there you go. It's German. Is that Gremlins or Germans? Well, there you go. But I remember I was in the SCA years and years and years ago, and I bought a kite shield made of wood, and in some of the fighting that you do, someone lost the living crap out of my shield, and I broke one of the straps, and suddenly that shield, I had to throw it down. The shield was unusable. I mean, you can kind of maybe envision that you're strong enough to hold it up to take blows, but the shield is sliding all over the place. I mean, up and down, and it's hitting your helmet, it's getting in your way. It's very, very inconvenient. I had to lose the shield, and all it was whatever bolts or whatever it was that connected the strap to the shield that popped out. And it's not an easy fix, but it definitely impacted my ability to fight. And I can only imagine what it's like if you're all jangled up in chainmail and plate mail and everything else. Where the shield is a huge part of your entire thing. So I do that a lot, and it kind of has the same principle that the pack strap does. They're going to get a -1 on dexterity, -1 on initiative if they don't drop it or whatever. And if they do drop it, of course, their AC has to be adjusted up or down depending on what it is like. So this battering the shield, breaking the shield, I'll frequently bend the shield as well. I'll have if the weapon is heavy, like a mace or a hammer, it'll bend the top of the shield back. I break shields frequently. One of my favorite sequences in movies is in 13th Warrior when the two Vikings, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a scene where the two Vikings fighting each other, and each of them get 3 shields, and the one just gets shield after shield after shield broken, because, you know, the guy's huge, and that's what would happen with a lot of this armament. It's just going to break, or it can't sustain the blows, especially repeated and continued blows. Effective use for the shield. That sounds right. I'll check. Let me click that now so that I don't lose it. It looks good already with the fellow I'm seeing laying backwards in the little whatever it's called. That's okay. I'm watching it over here. That's absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, I do that too. Now I don't. That's actually a shield blow. That's a great video. Yeah, that's a shield blow to the face. Would have to hurt. And there was a show years ago, I think it was on the History Channel, when it would take 2, I'm sure it's on YouTube, it would take 2 ancient warriors and have them duke it out. And I think one of the episodes was an ancient Spartan and an Apache warrior. I think those were the 2 that fought. I can't remember. I just remember the Spartan. You get a chance, you know, look it up on YouTube, check it out, and it talks about the shield being used as a weapon, and it is astounding the amount. I'll mess the math up, so I'm not even going to attempt to go down the math road, but the amount of pounds per square inch pressure, I don't know, whatever it is, that the shield does would just absolutely do exactly what happens. If you haven't watched the video, you'll see it, exactly what happens when the guy gets just laid out, because it would hurt. It's metal, and it smashes you in the face. Absolutely. I think that's a character ability on, I think maybe the fighter gets it in the 𝐓𝐫𝐤𝐬 shield smash. I think there's somewhere, maybe it's in Rune Lore, maybe, I don't know, somewhere in CNC we created this shield smash. It does 1d4 points of damage, and I think it stuns for 1 to 2 rounds. Something like that. As the video points out, it is certainly an effective way to do it. It looks like we're still going. So, we did that's number 2. We already did number 3, diving into number 4. Which one is this when the buckles break? So, this is the exact same concept as the shield and the pack straps, but it's on their armor. So, now if you're wearing a shirt of chain, I think you actually pull it over your head. There's not many buckles. But if you've got splint mail or half plate or plate, any of that stuff, probably maybe ring mail. I don't know if that would be a shirt, or that's probably a shirt. I think even chain mail, you put it on and then you tie it off somehow. I can't remember. Mark actually made some chain mail. There's something that he pulls up and he ties to his shoulder. I think whatever it is. But the same concept here plays in. The blade that strikes him in the shoulder cuts through the strap, and part of the plate falls away. I'll frequently do it. The leg greaves, the arm greaves, all of this stuff. If it's just plate here and it strikes the thing here, cuts the strap, plate falls off, and I start taking away their armor instead of hitting them and doing damage. Their armor starts taking damage. Their AC starts being. I start adjusting their AC accordingly. Usually 1 point per chunk of armor that falls off. But also, this has the same principle that goes behind the shield and the backpack that's hanging loose. If it cuts one strap on your arm greave, then that thing is flopping around as you're trying to fight. It's going to be very distracting and get in your way time and time again. So it's like I said, it's the same principle, but it's the armor. And the nice thing about this one is they're going to have to spend money after the fact to fix the armor, because now it's damaged, and now it's not like the helmet that they might be able to twist off and pull on a strap that they can get the Germans or whatever, whatever that is, and put it on there, and either spell or mending or what have you, and fix it. It's damaged, and now it's going to cost them 50 gold pieces or 25 gold pieces or however it is that you do that. So buckle breaking on the armor is a huge thing for me. Absolutely excellent. And so this last one is one of my favorite things. Now, I've only read this in one source, and I know a lot of you guys are history buffs. Let's see, worse yet, if their backpack straps go and end up needing to flee combat. Oh, yeah, now that is something. Losing equipment is almost every gang. They throw javelins, they throw spears, I make them keep track of their arrows. They lose equipment constantly, and you're right. If they throw that backpack down and have to run, I've also had them where they'll throw the backpack down and they're fighting. And I remember very, very specifically, they were being attacked by goblins and orcs, and they're fighting all this crap off. And some of the goblins broke free, ran to the backpacks, and began looting the backpacks during the combat. So the characters eventually won the combat, but they lost a lot of crap because the goblins were just looting it. They're doing the same thing the characters are doing. They're looting, killing, and looting, killing, and looting. That's what both sides of the fence are doing. Yeah, it's a good point. I absolutely love doing that. So on this last one, now, like I said, I read this somewhere only in one source that I can remember, and a lot of you guys are history buffs, so you may know, but this comes directly from what I read about the Roman pilum, which is the javelin. Now, the pilum it's got a wooden half that's short. It's only 2 or 3 feet long, and then it's got a long, thin javelin that the head is larger than the actual iron bar that comes out of the pilum. So that's the thrusting from the pilum. And they would throw it with the intent that it would penetrate, and then the metal would bend. So if you hit it or try to knock it out of the way, it was weak enough that the force of the blow would go in, but the metal would actually bend. So now if you've got it in your shield, you've got this big, L-shaped piece of metal and wood hanging off your shield, which is going to discombobulate your ability to stand up, to balance, to fight, all of these things. Stuck in your armor, it's the same principle. And like I said, I'm not 100% certain that is what the Romans did. I have read that in one of the history books of Roman warfare, but I don't know that I've ever read it again. So I'm not 100% certain that that's accurate. Accurate or not, however, it's definitely... My wife just texted me and said, are you getting sick? You sound rather pitiful. Well, there you go. It's definitely something, whether true or not, it's definitely something that I carried over to the game. And I will have all kinds of crap sticking into armor and shields. Crowbill is one of my favorites. Yeah, exactly. Buff Dusser. I'll have the crowbill stick into the armor, into the shield, and though it doesn't bend, it definitely hangs there, and it's in the way now. And now you've got, a 10-pound weapon hanging off of your shield, which is going to imbalance you, and again, cause initiative penalties or dexterity penalties or what have you. However you want to do it, whatever you're in the mood, however you want to penalize them is the way I go on that. And I do that one a lot, because it really does. It's very evocative, too. We've all seen the pictures of monsters and whatnot with weapons kind of stuck into them. And it's just kind of an evocative thing. You think about your knight, and he's got, a dagger hilt sticking out of his breastplate, or an axe in his shield. It's just kind of cool. I like the idea of it. So you get a little bit of, a nice kind of ambiance from it, fighting ambiance on it, and a lot of flavor text down of it. And then you get to penalize the characters as well, as opposed to damage them. Which, of course, the whole point isn't to mess up their equipment and cost them money, but it's the idea to give yourself something to do other than annihilating your PC. Yeah, that's fantastic. My overly sympathetic wife. Yeah, so good point there, Trolls. If you're just joining us, thanks for joining us today. Sure appreciate it. Give us a follow if you can. We appreciate everybody coming out. And I think that's it. That's the last trick of the trade there. We'll be back next. The thing's going to get confusing for me. I think we got AMA next Tuesday, another GM tricks of the trade, and then on Thursday, and then on Saturday next, not this coming Saturday, but 8 days out, I will be in Founders and Legends. I'm one of the players in Luke Gygax's Advanced Dungeons & Dragons game, which will be a lot of fun. As many of you know, I went from AD&D to one game of 3rd edition, and then into Castles and Crusades. So it'll be nice to put on the AD&D boots again and go back in time and play some Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. So I'll be on sometime Founders and Legends. I'm not sure if that's through GaryCon or not, but it's Founders and Legends somewhere out there. I definitely check that out. But thank you all for showing up. Very much appreciate it. Thanks for the commentary. Love it always. And we'll be back next week with more GM Tricks of the Trade. We'll have a new one out tomorrow, theoretically. That should happen. But we'll see. Saturday at 1 p.m. Central, there's a CNC. Oh, that's right. We've got Effie's doing his CNC 101. to learn how to play Captains of the Crusade. And tomorrow night is Troll Nerd Chat on Discord at 7 Central, I think. I'm going to swear that, but I think it's 7 Central. So swing by if you can and join us. Actually, won't be able. I'll try. I'm going to be up in the mountains. I'm going to try to get on, but the internet horrible, so it's probably not going to happen. But yep, absolutely, everybody. You all have a great rest of your week and a good weekend, and we will see you next Tuesday or Thursday or whenever you come wandering back. 7 p.m. Central. There you go for Troll Nerd Chat. That's tomorrow night on the Discord channel, the Troll Nerd Discord channel. But thank you all for showing up, and I sure appreciate it. Love hanging out with you guys, and we will talk to you next week. Make sure I don't have any messages here. No messages. I lost all of our commanders. So, all right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Enjoy your evening. Thanks, Commander Pete. Happy everybody. Blood Wild, DM Samuel. We'll talk to you later.